Welcome back to Legendary. Today we will get acquainted with generating modifiers. The first of them is array, which creates copies of the object in the desired direction by quantity or distance. The settings of this modifier allow you to create a constant interval between copies of the object. Modifiers can simultaneously affect the same mesh object. There is also a very interesting function of adding an interval using an additional object. In this case, copies of array will be created at the same distance as the additional object, and rotate and scale will be applied to them at each iteration. It is worth noting that to change mesh modifiers must be applied. Bevel creates a chamfer either on the edges or on the vertices of the object. At the same time, you can generate their number and size. If we do not need chamfers for the entire object, then you can apply the chamfers by weight parameter. The next modifier is Boolean. It has three options for action. Difference allows you to cut the geometry of one object from another. For clarity, I hid the second cube by pressing the H key. Keyboard shortcut, Alt+H, makes all hidden objects of the scene visible. Intersect merges leaves only the common part of the mesh of two objects. Next comes the build modifier, which is used for animation to a greater extent. We will get acquainted with it later. The decimate modifier allows you to delete a part of polygons as a percentage of their original number. For clarity, let's add a mesh object monkey. The edge split modifier removes connections between mesh polygons if the angle between them exceeds the set value. For clarity, I will add a subdivision modifier to it. The Geometry Nodes modifier allows you to edit mesh using node systems, but this is a separate topic for conversation. Therefore, we move on to the Mask modifier, which allows you to hide polygons collected in groups of vertices. The Remesh modifier allows you to recreate the mesh surface with smaller polygons, but the shape is not exactly preserved. This modifier can be used to prepare the mesh for sculpting or for styling. The Mirror modifier allows you to symmetrically reflect the mesh along the coordinate axis from the center of the object. The next screw modifier literally scrolls the object around the origin axis. You can adjust the angle of rotation, the number of iterations and the axis of rotation. We will skip the multi-resolution modifier, which simply allows you to subdivide the surface, including before sculpting. For the skin modifier to work correctly, not polygons, but verticals and edges are required. This modifier creates a cubic volume around the vertices and edges, perfectly combined with the subdivision modifier. The solidify modifier creates volume by extricating other polygons from polygons. An important feature of this modifier is that it preserves the orientation of the normals. The subdivision modifier is very often used in modeling. It smooths the surface of an object by subdividing the geometry. The triangulate modifier creates triangles from all polygons. This is especially important when creating models for games. The wireframe modifier creates cubic geometry around edges. The effect is similar to skin, but does not require the removal of polygons between verticals. There are still a large number of modifiers in Blender that are not included in this video. We will get to know them in the future.